Rather than just a basic breakdown, I thought I would present these in a ranked order, with number 1 being the figure I recommend the most. Obviously, some of these are recolors, but consider this list a recommendation, especially for people who don't yet have any version of these characters. Let me know how you rank these in the comments section. At number 5, I think a lot of people would agree that the Undead of Vikenfell is the least flashy and exciting figure of the wave, which is why it doesn't beat out any of the other figures. But that doesn't make it an unimportant figure. When Necronominus was first teased, I would have bet good money that they'd revisit the 2.0 skeleton. I was shocked that they didn't do a 2.0 skeleton across either of the two skeleton-heavy waves. There have been very few 2.0 skeletons in the line. I believe Morgulith, Okietos, and the Skeleton Soldiers were the only 3. So this is a very welcome return of some hard-to-find parts. And if you aren't sure what I mean by 2.0, check out my latest scale breakdown video. I only wish that they would have included the unarmored lower skeleton arms that came with the backpack attachments on Okietos or Alithia, but this figure looks fantastic, a sort of undead Viking or Valkyrie. It comes with 3 heads, including one that looks like it's engraved with runes or symbols, as well as a brand new head sculpt, or at least a new combination of parts. Looks like it might be Ragna Stormforger helmet with a lower skull jaw. Multiple helmet ornaments create additional looks, and it comes with extra hands, sword, axe, and shield. But at $50, this is a pricey drop for army building. Maybe one day we'll see a new 2.0 Skeleton Legion builder with those bare arms, maybe, as a reinforcements release. Number 4, at $70, is a recolor of the Mask of the Red Death, which is an incredible figure. The original version was one of my top 10 figures of 2023. And it just goes to show how strong this wave is that 3 other figures beat it. Red Death is an extravaganza of cloth goods, and underneath it all is a full ghoul-like body unique to the Mask of the Red Death. And if you're into dioramas, the clock that comes with it is exquisite. This new version is pretty much a color reversal, where the previous release was red, this one is black, and vice versa, which means we're now getting the body in red and the robes in black. The head, mask, and spilled blood effect piece are the only things left unchanged. I honestly have no gripes with this figure. It's only this far down the list because the other figures are that good. Next up is a haunted blue version of Figura Obscura Jacob Marley, also $70. This one skips the transparent parts in favor of a glow-in-the-dark blue recoloring. Like the original version, in addition to all the cool new sculpted parts, Marley's Ghost also comes with a gruesome harness and chains that can be mixed and matched with other Legion's figures, another diorama piece, this time a large safe, a bunch of other decorative pieces, and that insane iron mask head sculpt. An amazing release with a ton of value. Whether you're a fan of Dickens or just want an array of useful parts for customs, this is a must-have, especially if you missed the first release. There will come a day when yet another Tusk Sentry variant will feel unexciting. But today is not that day. With Cosmic Legions still under a year old, Fisher Reese still feels new and exciting, especially because of its builder aspects. This feels a lot like one of my favorite figures of 2023, the Gravekeeper, but this time, instead of the swap out chest pieces, it has interchangeable arms and legs. This figure instantly creates a number of other great looks for the rest of your Cosmic Legions collection, and at $60, it's $10 cheaper than the Gravekeeper. To me, this is a no-brainer on its own, but it's also an homage to the classic 70s and 80s Adventure People action figures by Fisher-Price, bringing a bit of nostalgia to it as well. Just looking around at the online response to this wave, I'd say this is the one the majority of collectors are most excited about. But the 2023 figure of the year is back, and there was no way the Monkey King was getting bounced off his throne just yet. A lot of people were hoping for a much more drastic color shift for this one, but I think sticking with the golds and reds was the right move here. Sun Wukong was the first Figura Obscura drop of 2023, so it's now been quite some time since it released, which means that there are many people out there who do not yet have it, especially for international collectors. Importing direct from the Four Horsemen store can be expensive outside the US, so having an option that is pretty close to the original with proper international distribution is actually a pretty big deal for a lot of people. And it's not exactly the same. There are some pretty big differences. The obvious one is the gold rather than brown fur, but it also has a much more vibrant gold armor, and the arms and legs are red, arguably even more classic than the beige parts of the first release. All three Figura Obscura releases are the standard $70 retail price, which is only $10 more than the direct Four Horsemen pricing, or a 17% increase. When you look at other direct to retail price shifts in the Four Horsemen lines, there are usually at least 20% and often substantially more. So in my opinion, the retail prices on these are excellent, relatively speaking. And as for those retailers, my suggestion is to shop around. There's a large list on sourcehorseman.com of approved retailers. Some of them will require additional shipping. Some of them will offer free shipping. Some, especially the larger stores, will charge tax in certain states. Some will not. Some will require a deposit. Others will not. And you can look around for shops that are closer to you, which can help save on shipping if they do charge it, and also help support a local business. So it definitely pays to carefully consider who you order from. And finally, just a little background about this type of wave. It is a retailer appreciation wave, which is a little different than the typical Four Horsemen pre-order. With these retailer appreciation waves, there is no option for a discounted direct pre-order like we usually see, just the standard priced retail access from various online shops and small local brick and mortar stores. It's a way for the studio to say thank you to those retailers. Some collectors might look at this as what could have been, as in, this $50 skeleton could have been available to me for $37 had they released it in the usual manner, but collectors would be missing the point of the wave, to show an appreciation for the retailers who stick their necks out financially to keep this line growing. I've talked to retailers, and it's a challenge to watch Four Horsemen provide an entire month of $37 access before then opening up the retailer pre-orders at $50 a pop. They ultimately do tend to sell well, but usually it takes a long time into the retailer pre-order window for sales to pick up, so their commitment is a game of faith and patience. What the retailer appreciation wave does is make sure that at least one wave a year is obtainable solely from the retailers, which means they are not competing with the lower price direct pre-order, nor will they later be competing with Four Horsemen convention pricing. Furthermore, the figures they choose for these retailer appreciation waves are figures that otherwise would not have been made. Think of them similar to the convention exclusives. They very likely would never have made a Vorgus Vermilius 2 because there just isn't a place for him in any of the larger themed story-driven waves. Think of these as wildcard waves, so it's not necessarily a matter of choice. They either make this figure in a retailer wave or they just don't make it at all. Also, one more note, these are indeed pre-order figures, and while they won't take as long as a large newly tooled wave, they have not yet begun production, so expect these to take a good 6 to 8 months or so. The initial release estimate is Q3 2024. Anyway, thanks for watching my breakdown. Again, let me know in the comments how you would rank these. And until next time, may the force be with you.